Thanks for joining us for the Member xCite presentation. The Member xCite presentation is informative, interesting to the audience, and showcases the strengths of the presenter as an entrepreneur and their area of expertise. It's not a sales pitch, it's a 10-minute educational and insightful exploration into what they do. And of course, it's exciting.
Today we have Will Lainson from xCite Design with an xCite on how to create a core marketing message that will drastically increase your sales. Will is the Managing Director of xCite Design, an Auckland-based website design agency that helps SMEs achieve their goals.
So what we do is we help businesses achieve their goals by building a website that doesn't just look cool, but really essentially matches businesses with their ideal customers through things like marketing messaging and that sort of thing. So the thing that I wanted to talk about this morning was the marketing messaging side of things and how it essentially makes a big difference to the success of a website. Now, this presentation, how to create a core marketing message that will help drastically increase your sales in 4 easy steps. So the first thing to touch on is what a core marketing message is. Now, a core marketing message it's a tool that allows you to create consistent, effective, and profitable marketing content. It essentially acts as your business's central message and helps you align your content with your business's purpose. From there, it allows you to create some really good marketing messaging to put out on your Facebook page, on LinkedIn, your website, all the way through to 60-second pitches or 40-second in VX, and other such things. Now, it's important to understand the difference between a core marketing message and general marketing messaging. So your marketing messaging is obviously what you're putting out onto Facebook, what you're putting out onto Instagram, what you're putting out into your 60 or 40-second pitches and that sort of stuff. But your core marketing message is the thing that essentially sits behind that. It's your it's the engine, if you like, that generates all of these consistent messages through your business. And having a core marketing message that you use internally with your business will help you align your business and general marketing strategy. It will increase your revenue, it'll increase your sales, and it'll just help you get to where you want to be in business. So how do you create a core marketing message for your business? The first step is to identify your ideal customer. So this is where I would normally have a handout that you'd be able to essentially write alongside. And so the first thing to do is to identify who your ideal customer is. So if you feel free to make notes and answer these and put some answers to these steps. So who they are, and essentially how old they are, what do they do, where do they live, all the way through to, where do they like to eat, if they're eating out, giving you a really good indication of who they are as a person, because essentially you're selling to a person, right? Even if you're selling to a business, there are people behind that. So if you come up with a few key points on who your ideal customer is, then it will sort of help you go through this whole overall process. Now, identifying this allows you to create content that speaks in their voice. It allows you to understand their issues and allows you to essentially call them out. A real key thing that successful businesses do in their marketing is they call out their ideal customers. They don't just have a shotgun approach and say, we work with small to medium-sized businesses, but instead they look at it and say, we work really well with people who are struggling in this, or they have this problem, and they really get to call their potential customers out. So the next step is, as I kind of mentioned just before, was figuring out their pain points. Once you figured out their pain points, then you can essentially link up your solutions to them. Now, people pay for to remove their problems, right? So you don't just go and say you're hiring a gardener for your home. You're not just giving them money for the sake of it. You want to have a garden that is well maintained. You need someone to look after your lawns, your gardens. You don't have time, and you just need that problem to be solved. So that's why you pay them to do it, and it works with essentially in any business. People pay for their problems to be solved. So the next sort of question in this for you to essentially make a note on is, what are the pain points that your ideal customer experiences? What is it that your ideal customer is essentially buying from you? Why would they come to you? Why would they buy from you? Understanding this will help you call them out and speak directly to them in a way that they cannot ignore. So the third point to this, or the third step in this, is figuring out what they're actually buying from you. What value are you adding to them? Normally we often work with B2B businesses, so I often stumble and say, what are they buying from, what are they buying for their business? But from a B2B or a B2C business, what are they actually buying from you? What value are you adding? Like I was saying before about the gardener. A gardener isn't necessarily selling the creation of grass clippings. They are selling a solution. They're selling more time back to you. Now, once you have those three things, so who your ideal customer is, what their pain points are, and what value you are adding, you can create, this is how you create your marketing, your core marketing message. You turn it into a sentence. And you do that with by essentially running, I'll show you a bit of an overview because we don't have the worksheet. But once you've identified your ideal customer and got their pain points and identified what you're actually selling to them in terms of the value, you turn it into a sentence, such as an example I had here was for a mobile coffee van, which is situated between a residential and commercial area. So the type of coffee van that you see when you're driving into work in the morning, and they're generally parked on the side of the road. Instead of just saying we sell coffee, we sell energy and clarity to busy professionals in Auckland who are sleep deprived and have a lot to get done. Now that's their core marketing message. That is exactly what they are selling, who they are selling to, and why they are selling it, and the value that their customers are getting out of it. Now, from there, they can create marketing messaging, which they can put on signage, they can put on their Instagram page and that sort of stuff. In this case, kickstart your day, your morning coffee in just 3 minutes. Now that speaks to all of those points. So their ideal customer is someone who is busy, someone who is sleep deprived, and someone who is, in this case, on their way to something. So generally don't have much time. So normally in this, I would, like I was saying before, I would have a handout that would be sent out, or normally in person, which you're able to essentially just fill out and create your marketing messaging. If anyone is interested in receiving that document, feel free to flick me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat, and then you can essentially create your core marketing message. So does anyone have any questions about that?
It's not a question, just observations. I think to differentiate between your core marketing message and marketing content is very important. People tend to jump into marketing content and they haven't really thought about their core marketing message.
Yes. Yeah, that is, it's very true. Most small to medium-sized businesses absolutely fall into that trap.
I think some bigger ones too.
Yeah, probably. I would agree. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Did that make sense? Normally, like I was saying, normally I'd have a bit more of a handout, and I think the presentation works a little bit better with that. But technology didn't exactly work well with us today, so I apologize.
Sorry, could I just ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
What do you feel is the relationship between a core marketing message and business's brand?
Sure, yeah, that is a very good point. So essentially the core marketing messaging and the brand, not to be confused with branding, which is a separate thing, but the brand itself, they work very closely. So a core marketing message very much just links into, the brand is essentially something that is an overarching thing for a business. So your core marketing message would work very nicely if to almost create the brand, which you can essentially then use to replicate, to create branding and general messaging throughout that brand. So I would say it's a really good place to start if you aren't so sure about the brand that you're actually showing people and telling to people. A lot of small businesses and a lot of businesses of all sizes really, when they are starting in business, they think their brand is basically what they sell, but it's actually so much more than that. It's who they are, it's why they do what they do. It's the value they offer. So they kind of work hand in hand. And to identify that brand, you can use the core marketing message and the principles of that structure to essentially create a brand that really, really sells. So to answer your question, I know it's a bit of a long-winded way to answer it, but they work very, very well hand in hand.
No, thank you.
Also a comment and a kind of a question.
Yeah.
First, I love how you summarize so in such a simple way how you can come up with your core message. I love that. It's kind of a simple equation. I love it. And the question would be, do you? I guess you have worked with all kind of industries, or do you apply the same sort of system or equation, to call it that way, to any that kind of business or industry, no matter if it's services or products, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes it can change in a situation where perhaps it doesn't quite fit, because the formula as a sentence sometimes does work, sometimes it does need to be amended a little. But we do use this for any size clients. So we have clients from micro businesses all the way through to government agencies and larger corporates. And this so this tool has worked really well for all of them, pretty much all of them, to essentially just be able to define the core messaging that we'll be creating for the website itself. It's a really good starting point for that.
Yes, great.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
I have one. If I may. Yeah, so
yeah, of course.
Because I'm one of those very small businesses, and I started and I threw myself down, I did my website, like I had no brand or anything. I started the other way around, and now that my business is growing, I'm doing my content strategy. So I went through the whole process of, who is my ideal client on my core messages. Now I hire someone to do my content strategy. So can you do that the other way? Like I did maybe the wrong way, but now start building up from who I am, because at the end of the day, people hire me, my services, but it's my brand, it's my personality. Can you do that the
Yeah.
other way? Start now slowly building like, you know, your content strategy, and from there design your personal brand plus your business brand, because now I need to do a whole rebranding and it's kind of daunting. You know what I mean? Because I started by my content, but eventually I'll change my business name because I started as a virtual assistant, like, oh, where is she? Oh, Alina. Yeah, I started like Alina as a virtual assistant. And then I niched down, and I'm not doing any more VA services. So I need to kind of redo everything. Can you start by your messaging, and from there change your business name, your website, and like do it the other way around?
Yeah. So the reason these core marketing messages are so powerful, and the reason why we always kind of have them at the very beginning, is because it dictates what happens next in terms of, you speak about personal branding and how your business is very much your personal brand, and your personality comes through that. Having the you can almost incorporate that into your marketing message, your core marketing message, and use that to create the rest of it too. So personal branding is a very important thing, and lots of people do it on LinkedIn, and it's very, very powerful over on LinkedIn. I'm looking at you, Claire, because I do see your posts on LinkedIn and doing a very good job of personal branding on that side of things. But using something like a core marketing message allows you to create that content and create those, create essentially how the world sees you in terms of your personal brand. So personal branding and company branding, whilst they are quite separate, they use very similar principles to create effective personal branding. And yeah, you'd absolutely use something like a core marketing message to be able to dictate how you present yourself to the world. Because it allows you to tie everything back to that core message, so you deliver consistent, essentially consistent content.